Are you looking for a report that gives you high probability entry points, recommends position sizing, and even gives you multiple exit points so you can become a better trader investor? Well, welcome to the Momentum Timer Pro Open Beta that's free for all. I'm the inventor of Momentum Timer Pro, Steven Van Metre, and you might be wondering, what is Momentum Timer Pro? Well, it's a daily report that comes to your email box, and during the beta, as I mentioned, it's totally free. So what is it? Well, it gives you daily buy and sell signals for 32 equity, 9 bond, 8 commodity, and 8 currency ETFs. Just keep in mind, I will link both the report and the sign-up page in the description below. It gives you multiple positioning sizing recommendations to help you manage your risk exposure, and macro trading data to help you identify long-term, low-risk entry and exit points. And yeah, did I mention it's beta and it's free? So all you have to do is click here to sign up, put your email address in, and away it will go. So let's get into what this is in a little more detail and why I created it. Well, one thing that many of my fans have been asked for, that you've been asking for, is buy and sell signals. Now, you know I have a broad macro thesis, and sometimes when you have a long macro thesis, there are some cycles that happen in between it. And one thing that I've been working on is creating something better. I've wanted to build something momentum-based for a long time that encompasses a large number of asset classes that you can put anything in. And so I've written some formulas I've been working on for many years to try to help identify these swings in the market with a lot more accuracy. And when it comes to investing, you can never get 100% hit rate. We all know that. But if you can increase your odds just a little bit by using momentum signals, well, that's all that matters. And so what Momentum Timer Pro does, it focuses on two things, price and momentum. It looks to see what direction prices are headed, and it looks to see the rate of change in those prices. And really, those are the two most powerful forces in the market today. Now, you might have been looking at some reports that look at inflation cycles and look at different quadrants in terms of where we are in the manufacturing cycle. And what these reports try to do is identify where certain pieces are at and then allocate positions to them. Momentum Timer Pro, fully formula based. It doesn't care if we're in inflation, deflation, where we're at in the commodity cycle or manufacturing cycle. It doesn't care if we're doing modern monetary theory or not. It doesn't care. It just says, give me the inputs and I will tell you where your high probability entry and exit points are. Now, if you're a day trader or you're quickly pushing buy and sell within weeks or a week or so, this isn't the right report for you. But if you're looking for longer term, lower risk entry points, and again, position sizing, which no one really is doing, and to give you multiple exit points to say, hey, you're coming down the road, and by the way, there's 3 exits on this highway if you want to get off, well, you're in the right place. So let's take a look at how this report works. So every day, you'll get a free report. It'll look just like the one here, and it will have a list of those ETFs, as I mentioned. Now, let's talk about where we're going here with the future of this real quick. One thing you're going to pick up on, it's all US-based in equity ETFs. And I am building this to actually be an international product, to really span all over the world, because many of my fans have come from Australia, Canada, parts of Europe, Asia, and I want to have something for you too. And so we don't have a data capacity issue. We had that if you were on Twitter the other day, you found out I had a little bit of problem with my data provider. We got that switch. So we have a broad capacity now to handle different symbols from all over the world. So we will be adding, and I will be looking to you as part of the beta to help me when we're ready to say, okay, what's important for people in this part of the world and in this country, in this area. And we're going to build those into this report and make it the best momentum timing report on the market. And you might be even asking, well, why isn't there a back test? Did you do a back test? Look, I don't like back tests. They're a lot of work and they're not always conclusive. The best way to test something is to do it live. That's why we're doing this. That's why it's for free. Not only can I give back to you for supporting me, but we can see in real time, does this thing work? And if it doesn't, we can tweak it and then keep going. All right, so let's take a look at a report and we'll look at what it's seeing and what it's recommending. Again, you can download this in the description below. And starting tomorrow, if you sign up by email, you won't get today's report. You have to download it off my website. which is on there, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, if you can't find the link there. So let's just pick a few of these and see how this report works. So let's start with GDX. This is popular, Van Eck Vectors, Gold Miners, ETFs. And currently, now if I was using this report right now, it's currently saying it has a buy on a monthly, neutral on a quarterly, and neutral on biannual. It will color code any changes. So we know that it flagged a buy signal from neutral on KBE. Well, it flagged a buy signal here because it's green. So greens are going to be buys, yellows are going to be neutral, and red will be sells. But let's just look at GDX. So if I was looking at this, would I act upon what I'm seeing here? The answer is no. It's not giving me a signal yet. So let's go and look at a chart of GDX and see what it's saying. So it says on the monthly, it's getting kind of, it has a buy signal. But on the quarterly and semi-annual, it's neutral. And what you're seeing is it's trying to pick up this move here, but in the broader context, it's saying, look, it doesn't have a lot of conviction on this move. So if you were saying, I want to follow that, well, and I'm not sure what to do. What if my position sizing is wrong? Well, and that is a big mistake most investors make, is they missize their positions. They go all in or they take too large of positions. So at the suggestion of the president of Real Vision, Travis Kimmel, I built in a position sizing model. And what it says for GDX is on a monthly, if you're looking at the monthly cycle, if that's what you're looking to trade at, what is it saying? Minimum. If it's quarterly, biannual, it's saying, don't take a position because it doesn't have the confidence. Now, so what does a minimum position sizing do? How do you read that? And so let me give you an example. I'm not suggesting you do this, but let me give you an example. Let's say your max position size is 3%. So if anything in your portfolio, you will not exceed 3% of it. Well, a minimum would say take 1%. That's not a lot of risk if you look at that GDX chart. I mean, if it goes down, you don't have a lot of risk exposure. 2% would be mid, 3% would be max. And you could create some variation on that for yourself. But that's how you would read this. Now, another way to approach this is you might look at the monthly as an entry point and the quarterlies or biannuals as exits. So you don't have to say, I'm always going to sit in one column. You can. You can certainly do that, but you may find your entry and exit points are at different scales, and that's pretty cool too. How you use this and your feedback to me on how you use this will determine what changes we make going forward to help you use it better and for it to be better. All right, so let's go and look at another one, and let's take a look at IWM. This is iShares Russell 2000. This is small caps. So what do we see? Monthly, it's neutral. Quarterly and biannual, it's got buy signals. And let's see what its position size is before we go look at a chart. It's saying on a monthly, none. And on, it looks like mid on a quarterly, mid on biannual. So here, let's go over to IWM now and take a look. And it's saying, look, on the monthly, would you want to take a position on this chart if you're on the monthly scale? Probably not. I mean, there's no confidence here. If you had a position already in it and you were holding it still, and it says, if you're on a quarterly scale, you should have a minimum position. So maybe 1%. You're not taking a lot of risk there. It could go higher, and you don't have a lot of risk exposure if it goes lower. And if you're on the biannual position, well, then you're looking at a mid-sized position, and there's still not a lot of risk there if you're properly position sized. So that's pretty cool. So it looks good from that standpoint. Let's go and look at how about tech stocks, QQQ, NASDAQ, and it's saying on the monthly, none, and quarterly and biannual, it's got minimum position sizing, and let's go up here, and it's got neutral buy. So let's take a look at the Qs and see what's going on here. Where are they? You think I'd know where they're at. And again, you have a chart that doesn't give you a lot of confidence. So if you're on the monthly, looking for a monthly to bring in a buy signal, well, you're looking at this saying, I shouldn't have a position. If you've been in this, it's saying, look, scale your positions back because this is not a chart of confidence. Price and momentum are not moving up real quickly here to give you the confidence of using this as an entry point. So let's continue on with one that does not inspire confidence of getting in. So, because, how would I use this? Because someone's going to inevitably ask, well, should I use this to short things? Look, there's a lot of risk shorting things. So if you do that, that's up to you. If you figure out a way to use this to do that, that's cool. I'm looking at this saying, where are entry points? That's what I want to find. Where are entry points here? So here's one that I wouldn't touch. It's called iShares China Large Cap. It's got a sell, a neutral, and a neutral. And let's take a look at what it recommends for position sizing, which we can probably guess none across the board. It says don't take a position in this. So let's go look at a chart of FXI and see, where is FXI on here? There. And you're looking at a 1-year chart. Yeah, this is not one you would want. You see the 50 days headed lower. It's crossed the 100 days, crossed the 200 day. This is not a chart of confidence. This is not something you'd look to say, hey, I want to take a position in. Now let's go and look at something you might be saying, okay, how do I find a position to take? Well, let's go look at the next page. And what do we have then? The bond section. So they got a lot of things that say neutral and sell, but let's focus on Treasury. So we got iShares TLT. It's got sell signals across the board. And we got ZEROs, which is 30 or 0 or 25 plus 0 coupons. Very similar to TLT, just a little bit riskier. It's got neutral and sell signals on it. So if I'm looking to take a long position, this is where I want to start. I want to find something that's already saying don't buy, and I want to wait for it to trigger a buy signal. And we can guess the position sizing should be very straightforward. None. Okay, so again, this does not have anything to do with my macro thesis, totally formula based. But if we were looking at TLT, we see what we've talked about on the Friday macro show, which is a Wyckoff bottom. And so we start to see something that looks bottoming. It looks like it's bottomed. It's going sideways. The moving averages are bottoming, starting to curl up. You see the same on ZEROs. So what would I be looking for if I was using this report? I would want to know now, when does this monthly switch? So I'm looking for a sell to neutral and a neutral to buy on both of them. So that's something that I'm going to look for to say, hey, that's my low risk entry point. And then from there, I'm going to look and try to determine, should I be selling on a quarterly or biannual signal down the road? Because what I want to then see is the monthly roll into the quarterly, turn into buy signals, and then into the biannual. And then I'm going to look to exit somewhere from that. Let's take a look at commodities now. And to give you some more stuff to look at, how about U.S. oil? Symbol USO, it's got a strong buy, and a buy. And let's take a look at position size. And it says max on the monthly, mid on quarterly, and biannual. All right, so let's go look at crude oil. Now, I know we talked about this yesterday on the show, that perhaps it's signaling a peak. But remember, momentum doesn't usually worry about relationships like that. It's going to look and say, is momentum still driving this thing? And I should have had USO on here, but we'll use crude. There's good planning ahead, Steve. And so look, if you look at the chart of crude, you see there is momentum here. There's absolutely momentum here, and that's what it's trying to figure out. And so if you look at the relationship and what does it say? It says take if you're on the monthly, you're at a max position, and if you're on one of the others, you're at mid-size. So again, if you're using 3-2-1 as your position sizing, you're still not taking a ton of risk to be in oil. So again, looks like it's making good recommendations to me. How about silver? I know that's real popular. Everyone wants to talk about silver. And it's got just flipped to it's got a buy signal on the monthly, buy, and also on quarterly and biannual. Let's look at position sizing here. And what does it say? Max, min. So, okay, so we got max on the monthly, minimums on the other one. And where is SLV? And yeah, this is momentum. You see momentum is rising. Now we can look and say, well, perhaps it is topping here, but again, you're not taking big exposures with the position sizing. So what momentum is saying, look, there's some momentum on the monthly here. You could be in a max position. If you're in one of the other two, you're at a mid-sized position. Again, 3-2-1, you're not taking too much risk there as part of your broad portfolio. And let's look at another one. If you're again looking from bottom up, I would then look at currencies and say, where's the weak ones? Well, we can look at Japanese yen, but one we've looked at a lot on the show is the Invesco dollar bullish. It has no position sizing and a strong sell, neutral sell. So good. All right, so here's one that I want to keep an eye on. And what's going on with the charts on UUP? And what am I seeing? Potential bottom here. So, and it may not be because you see the 50-day rolling over and headed down, but I'm looking at this saying, hey, it's giving me off a bunch of sell signals. I want to watch it and see what those sell signals do. Do they turn to neutral? When do they turn to buys? And then that's when I'm going to look to take a position in this. And from this report, I'm going to look at the chart and then keep track of it. That's how you want to use this, is use the report to keep track of potential entry points. And then what you'll find and I'll even recommend just, actually just marking them down on paper. You don't have to trade this. It's beta. It's free. It's going to be free for a while. Now, if it turns out that this thing gets dialed in, I've got a whole nother set of signals I'm going to add. They're planning to add to it, but not immediately. And then we're going to make this thing international, add a bunch of stuff to it. Once we get some traction on this as it is, then I'll say, hey, I need some help building out, signals for Australia and Asia and Europe and Canada and wherever. And wherever you are, I don't know where everyone is at. And we're going to really build this out to make this the best report possible. Now, when the beta ends, if it does go to a paid subscription, it will be very low priced, and you will all be invited, and then the whole list is going to get deleted. There's going to be no other use for this list other than to send out this report. So you're, again, welcome to share it with anybody you want. It's free to sign up, no restrictions. And then probably what we'll do is once, maybe twice a week, I'll do an open video like this where we'll go through that current report to try to learn more, see what it's doing, to really break through this, to find out, is it accurate? Where does it need improvement? And then with your feedback. Now, do keep in mind, I know some of you have sent me emails before. Please limit all your feedback on this to the Momentum Timer Pro email address. It's on the bottom of the report. As is a link to the sign up page. Again, you can share it anywhere you want, anyone you want, free to sign up. So with that, I will see you on tomorrow for the macro show. And again, thanks for supporting me. As always, this is my way to give back to you. And hopefully together we can make the best timing report on the market today. I'm Steve Van Metre. Bye now. The content of this video is provides educational information only, is not intended to provide investment or advice. This material is not to be construed as a recommendation or solicitation of buyer selling security, financial instrument, or to participate in any particular trading strategy. This video is prepared by Steven Van Metre personal capacity. Opinions expressed in this video that do not reflect the of Atlas Financial Advice Inc. or Steven Van Metre Financial.